The year 2026 has barely begun, yet global attention is already shifting toward rising geopolitical tension. In the first days of the new year, discussions surrounding the United States and Venezuela have returned to international headlines. While no official declaration of conflict has been made, the tone of recent statements and strategic movements has raised important questions. For many observers, this moment feels less like a sudden crisis and more like the continuation of a long-standing standoff. The relationship between Washington and Caracas has been shaped for years by economic pressure, diplomatic disagreements, and competing visions of regional influence. From the perspective of the United States, Venezuela remains a country of strategic importance. Its energy resources, geographic position, and political alliances all play a role in shaping policy decisions. American officials have used careful language in recent remarks, emphasizing stability, monitoring developments, and maintaining international norms. At the same time, actions taken behind the scenes often speak louder than public statements. On the Venezuelan side, the situation carries a different weight. Years of economic sanctions and international isolation have placed significant strain on the country's economy and on the daily lives of its citizens. Recent messages from Caracas suggest growing frustration and a desire to project strength. Whether this rhetoric is aimed at foreign audiences or domestic unity remains open to interpretation. Analysts caution against jumping to conclusions. At this stage, most experts describe the current situation as a phase of strategic signaling rather than a direct path toward war. History shows that global conflicts rarely begin with clear announcements. Instead, they often unfold gradually, marked by economic pressure, diplomatic tension, and calculated displays of power. The presence of military assets in nearby regions, increased surveillance, and heightened diplomatic activity are being closely watched by international observers. Still, diplomacy remains an active and critical channel. Behind closed doors, discussions continue among global powers with the shared goal of avoiding escalation. As 2026 moves forward, the question is not only whether tensions will rise or fall, but how the world chooses to respond. In an interconnected global system, economic shifts, energy markets, and regional stability affect far more than the nations directly involved. For now, the situation between the United States and Venezuela stands as a reminder that the new year has arrived with unresolved challenges still in place. Whether this chapter becomes a turning point or simply another moment of diplomatic pressure will depend on the decisions made in the weeks ahead. As the world watches closely, one thing remains clear. The opening days of 2026 have already set a serious tone for global affairs. As the story continues to unfold, attention now turns to the broader global implications of rising tension between the United States and Venezuela. Beyond official statements and political rhetoric, international markets and regional partners are carefully assessing potential outcomes. Energy markets, in particular, remain sensitive to any developments involving Venezuela. As a nation with vast oil reserves, even small shifts in policy or access can influence prices and supply chains worldwide. This reality places added pressure on global decision-makers to prevent instability from spreading beyond the region. Latin America, already navigating economic uncertainty, watches closely as diplomatic signals evolve. Neighboring countries weigh their positions, balancing economic ties, political alliances, and national interests. Meanwhile, global powers outside the region are also paying attention. For them, the situation represents more than a regional dispute. It is a test of influence, diplomacy, and the balance of power in a shifting world order. Experts note that modern conflicts are rarely limited to military action alone. Economic pressure, information campaigns, and strategic alliances now play a central role in shaping outcomes. In this context, the current US-Venezuela tension fits a familiar pattern. It is a contest of endurance, messaging, and international perception. Within the United States, public attention remains cautious but alert. Many Americans, particularly older generations, recall similar moments in history where global uncertainty influenced everyday life. Questions about energy costs, economic stability, and national security naturally follow. In Venezuela, the situation carries an equally heavy emotional weight. National pride, economic hardship, and political resolve combine to shape public sentiment. Analysts emphasize that internal pressures often influence external behavior. Leaders on all sides face decisions that extend beyond immediate headlines. Each move is measured not only for its direct impact, but for how it will be interpreted internationally. As diplomatic channels remain active, uncertainty continues to define the moment. Will dialogue reduce tensions, or will prolonged pressure harden positions further? History offers no simple answers. What it does show, however, is that moments like these often shape the direction of entire decades. As the early days of 2026 pass, the situation between the United States and Venezuela stands at a crossroads. The choices made now will influence not only bilateral relations, but the wider global landscape. For the world watching from afar, this is not merely a distant political story. It is a reminder that in a deeply connected world, stability and uncertainty travel far beyond borders. And as this chapter continues, the outcome remains unwritten.